Hi. Thank you for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I'm Andrea, and I'm close to the ground, which is not always how you see me starting things, but we will begin close to the ground. As you make your way there, a few props that you might have with you. I am here on my yoga mat, but I'm also here on a nice sturdy rug that's in my living room. So if you don't have a yoga mat, find a place in your house that's got maybe some carpeting, or it's a sturdy rug that's not going to be slipping out from underneath you or have you surfing across your living room. I have a folded blanket, which is truly the throw blanket from my couch. You could use a beach towel, a bath towel, and I've got two blocks, but you could substitute two thick books. We might even use these props as we climb into a child's pose. Now, child's pose is often taught as sink your hips towards your heels, but the reality is not all of us have knees that appreciate that. So you could curl your toes under. You could have your folded blanket or towel underneath your knees. That might be really helpful. And if bending your knees so deeply that it hips to the heels doesn't work, then just lean a little forward, walk your hands forward, maybe a book or block underneath your forehead. And you could have the book or block under your forehead even if you are sinking your hips a little bit towards your heels. Carve out a little corner of the sky, some place that feels like it's the child's pose for you to turn the arrows of attention inward as opposed to distractedly outward. So it's like a little bow. You're curling up with yourself. And as you do, the distractions of what's going on around you, that temptation to dart your gaze around the room is a bit less because we have an inward turn here. So let's try to bring our focus that way. And we can use our breath to bring us there. Our breath goes two directions. Our minds are capable of going about 1,000,000 different directions, wouldn't you say? So think to yourself, inhale, pause at the top. Exhale, pause at the bottom. And let that give you something to focus your mind and direct your body to being here now. 30 seconds of just silently breathing here, curled up in our child's pose. Bring yourself to hands and knees. And once we're on all fours, it might be that this block is helpful for the next thing that we do. You might want to keep your blanket underneath your knees. Take your right arm up to the sky and then swoop it underneath you. You'll come to the outside of your right shoulder. That's where you may want to put the right side of your head on your block. I like to prop up onto my left fingers, and then you can just see where it is that this feels like it's a release. Stay with your breath. Inhale, pause at the top. Exhale, pause at the bottom. Bring yourself up and out of this side, and now it's your left arm that goes up to the sky, and you'll swoop that left arm underneath you. Maybe you put the left side of your head on your block. You'll be on your left shoulder. You could prop up onto your right fingertips, and we stay with this side of our twist. Inhale, pause at the top. Exhale, pause at the bottom. Unswoop from this side and plant your hands on your mat here on all fours. Let's take a moment to notice the positioning of our hands and also what grows up above the positioning of our hands. Our shoulders are directly over our wrists. Our hands feel like they're digging into some clay or soil. And we can feel each palm, like the circumference of each palm, pressing evenly into our mat. Also, what's growing above those palms is that we're not collapsed into our shoulders. So really, truly push the ground away, so much so that you actually feel your core get involved. And then with this action of pushing the ground away, step your right leg back like you're flirting with a plank position and see if that then collapsed you into your shoulders and instead push the ground away here. Put that right knee back down again and then step your left leg back behind you like you're flirting with that plank. Push the ground away. Both knees on the ground. And then we will step into a plank position. Keep pushing the ground away. And when we bring our knees back to the ground, it's not quite all fours. Just bring them to the ground directly underneath where they are right now. And still we keep the pushing the ground away feeling. Let's see how slowly and gracefully we can lower to our bellies. A count of 5. 5. Elbows brush your ribs. 4. 3. 2. Once you're on the ground, uncurl your toes and press the tops of your feet down. And then take your forearms and make them parallel to those long edges of your mat. So you press down into your feet and lift your kneecaps. And now traction your elbows towards you so that your heart moves through the gateway of your arms. We're not going to sling our chin to the sky. We'll let our chin stay parallel to the ground, so we invite our shoulder blade area of our spine into this Sphinx pose. We'll lower down and now slide our hands next to our ribs. And instead of winging our elbows out, let your elbows be alongside your body. And now we traction our hands as we press into the tops of our feet and keep our chin parallel to the ground into a cobra. If this doesn't feel as good to you as that Sphinx pose did, you can always bring your forearms down instead. We'll lower down, curl our toes under, and in one chunk, come to all fours. We're pushing the ground away, like we talked about before. And now let there be a feeling of a hook in your tailbone. And you can kind of get sassy. Lift your hips up a little bit. We'll keep a bend in our knees as we push into our arms for down dog. So aim your tailbone where the wall and the ceiling meet behind you. And step your feet as wide as your mat. Stay on the balls of your feet. Push into the ground until you feel like you're growing on all 4 sides of your waist. And you can tell that your arms and your ears are aligned here. Walk forward, feet come to your hands. You're at the front edge of your mat with your feet hip distance. Take your hands on your shins, glide them up, and inhale, lift your heart. And then exhale, slide your hands down and increase the hinge at your hips. We will inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Stand with your arms along your sides and your palms facing out, and it's like a little bit of Sphinx pose or Cobra pose as we uplift our heart. Let's arrive here in our stance the way that we did in our child's pose and turn the arrows of attention inward. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. And then exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs. Maybe they slide to your shins or your ankles. And then you'll slide your hands back up again. Inhale, lift your heart. Bend your knees so deeply that your palms go flat on the ground and you can step back to down dog, pushing the ground away and finding the hook in your tailbone. Maybe your feet are hip distance. They can also stay as wide as your mat. Shift it forward into a plank where you're pushing the ground away, and then plant your knees down like a little kickstand. Slow motion all the way to your belly. Elbows brush your ribs. And then uncurl your toes, press the tops of your feet, and come into a cobra pose or lower your forearms for Sphinx pose. Lower back down, curl your toes under. In one chunk, we come to all fours. Find the sass and the hook in your tailbone as you come to down dog, and continue to really oomph into your arms. Walk forward, feet come to your hands, hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and then we pause with our arms along our sides. We'll do one more of that sun salutation, A. Inhale, arms reach up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees, palms flat, step to down dog. And then from down dog, shift forward into a plank. Plant your knees down like a kickstand and push the ground away as you lower all the way to your belly. Uncurl your toes, press the tops of your feet. It's a little bit of a back bend. And then we lower down, curl your toes under in one chunk, come to all fours. Once we're on all fours, find the hook in your tailbone for down dog. And from down dog, walk forward, feet come to your hands, hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, V. And then we stand here in our mountain. Chair pose, V-shape your arms, sit back and down as if there were a chair there. Let your weight be into your heels, and we'll simply stand up and float our arms along our sides. One more time, chair pose, sit back and down, thumbs to the sky in a V shape, and then we stand it up and float our arms along our sides, palms facing out. Chair pose, and then hands to your thighs, maybe they slide to your shins or your ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, and then palms flat, step it into downward facing dog. Now stay in down dog for a moment and playfully take your left hand on the outside of your right thigh or shin and twist your chest over to the right for a moment. Then bring your left hand down and take your right hand to the outside of your left thigh or shin or ankle and twist yourself towards the left. Bring both hands flat on the ground. Lift your right leg back behind you and then swoop that right foot forward. It might mean that you help it along. Take your two blocks or books and place them on either side of that right foot. And let's refine our lunge. Heel toe your right foot over to the right. So there's a bit more sideways space here. We're not swinging our right hip out to the right. We're hugging that right hip in towards a midline. And we will keep our left hand on our block and reach our right arm up to the sky. It's a twist like we just did in our down dog. It's almost like the swoop that we did on all fours. Let's let ourselves grow tall as we inhale. There's some freedom there. And then as we exhale, we gracefully find the agility to twist a little bit deeper. 3 moments in this shape. We unwind and place our right hand onto our block. Take your two books or blocks off the side of your mat and plant your hands flat on the ground. We step to a down dog, and as we do, we're lifting our hips high. Shift it to plank, shoulders over wrists. Plant your knees down slowly all the way onto your belly. Uncurl your toes, let it become that gentle back bend, a cobra, or forearms down for sphinx. Then lower down, curl your toes back under. In one chunk, we come to all fours. And then let the hook in your tailbone take you to down dog. Once we're in down dog, lift your left leg back behind you. We step that forward, and it might take a little help. No shame in that. Trot your two blocks so that they can frame that left foot, and heel toe your left foot a little bit to the left. So we're refining the lunge that is the foundation of our next twist. And that twist comes from our right hand remaining on our book or block and our left arm spinning open. We're careful not to swing that left hip out. You could think of this twist happening in your waist and in your shoulder blade area of your spine where Sphinx was. And then let's inhale and grow long. And exhale, find some agility and grace as we twist. We'll stay here a few moments. Then unwind your left hand onto your block. Let your blocks go out of your way, so off to the sides. Plant your hands, make it a down dog, so we find that hook in our tailbone once again. And then we'll walk forward, feet to our hands, they're hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. It's a chair pose. We sit back and down, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then we stand with our arms along our sides, palms facing out. Chair pose, inhale. Exhale, hands to our thighs or shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, plant your palms flat, step yourself to down dog. Once you're in down dog, lift your right leg, step it forward, help it along. First, it's a lunge, and we'll trot our two blocks in, but we're changing this shape. So, heel toe your right foot to the right. Turn your back foot flat as you straighten that right leg. This is where it's very tempting to let our right hip swing out. You're doing your best to draw it back. You're not forcing anything. We have a hip hinge, so this is not a collapsed, rounded posture. And our twist will be with straight legs or straight-ish legs. Left hand stays on your block. Right arm to the sky as we twist open. Note that we're not swinging open, we're twisting open. It's a twist at our waist. As we inhale, we get long, and as we exhale, we explore a little agility, a little grace. We'll stay here and breathe. 5 moments, just do your best. Unwind. Spin on your back toes and bend that front knee. Take your blocks off the side, plant your hands, down dog. You might just put your knees down and go to the child's pose that we started in, or join me as we come to plank. Plant your knees down and lower your belly all the way to your mat. Uncurl your toes for your back bend. It's a cobra or sphinx pose. And then lower down, curl your toes under, come through all fours. Find the hook in your tailbone, oomph into your arms, it's a down dog. Lift your left leg behind you. Step that left foot forward, help it along if need be. First, it's a lunge, and then our lunge becomes a pyramid. We straighten that front leg, turn our back foot flat, and heel toe our left foot to the left. And then we find a sweet spot where it's interesting, but it's not too much. And once we find that sweet spot, we will keep our right hand on our block and float our left arm up to the sky without floating our left hip out to the side, at least as much as we can manage that. And we will inhale, lengthen to our spine, and then exhale, a twist towards the left. And you'll stay with that with a little silent moment to meditate on it. Then unravel and bring that left hand onto your block. Bend your left knee and spin on your right toes, your back toes. Scoot your blocks off to the side so they're out of the way. Plant your palms. Step into your downward facing dog. And then walk forward, feet to your hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. It's a chair pose, and once you're here in chair pose, hands in a prayer, left elbow inside of your left thigh as you twist to the right. Maybe a few of you will take your left elbow outside your right thigh, but if that's crumbling things, I think it's sometimes a bit more freeing just to have that elbow on the inside of the same thigh. So left elbow inside of left thigh. Let's stay for 3 moments here. Then down the middle for our chair pose, we'll stand it up, pause with our arms along our sides. And then the second side of that chair twist. Chair pose and hands in a prayer. Now it's right elbow on the inside of your right thigh, unless you really want to take that right elbow on the outside of your left thigh. Every inhale we grow long, and every exhale we twist in a little bit deeper. This is that agility and grace. Grace indicates that you're not slamming into anything. There's no force. 3 moments here. Unwind it into your chair pose and then stand up and let your arms float along your sides. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, and then palms are flat on our mat as we step into down dog. From our down dog, hands and knees. And from hands and knees, it might be that you choose to sit on a folded blanket or to even sit on your block. We'll extend our legs out in front of us. And once we do, bend your right knee and put that right foot maybe into your left inner thigh. It may be that it settles a little further down your leg. Maybe a block or book under this right thigh feels good to you. Curl your left toes back. Inhale, reach your arms up. And we twist again over to the right. Back of your left hand to the outside of that right thigh. Right hand back behind you. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, give yourself a little twist. Stay with that action. Inhale, growing tall, and exhale, little twist. Unwind, thumbs to the sky. Inhale. Right ribs are aiming towards our straight left leg. Fingertips on either side of that left leg. If you're not using a block underneath your thigh, you could stack your blocks and give yourself a little bit of height. But let's think of hinging at our hip and inhaling length, and exhaling, there is a bit of a twist, right ribs towards left inner thigh. We'll stay here and soak silently for a few moments together. Upright your spine, help it along. Take your right knee, your right thigh, and point that right knee to the sky, and then we'll let that right leg straighten. Second side, bend your left knee, put your left foot maybe in your right inner thigh, but maybe it's more like that shin. Curl your right toes back. Remember, you can have a block underneath this left thigh. Inhale, V-shape your arms and twist to the left. Back of your right hand on the outside of that left thigh. Left fingertips behind you. Inhale, lift your heart. And exhale, give yourself a twist. Stay with this action on this side for a few moments. Then we unwind. Inhale, V-shape, arms to the sky. Left ribs move towards inner right thigh. We frame our right leg, our straight leg, and we hinge and fold and breathe. Come here, Tip. Hi. A few moments of silence, stretching here. If you've not met Tippy, this is Tippy, my dog, my beloved. And we'll bring ourselves up and help it along. So left knee to the sky and both legs out in front of us. A little waggle probably feels pretty nice to do. And then lie down on your back. with your knees bent, your feet hip distance, we'll take a twist. It's kind of been a theme, our twists. Scoot your hips to the right, let your knees drop to the left. It might feel good to you to cross your right knee over your left knee. And then let's pause here in what's called a supine twist, a lying down twist. We'll come back through center, and now you'll scoot your hips to the left and let your knees drop to the right, and maybe you cross your left knee over your right knee. We'll bring ourselves back to center. And once you're lying on your back here, arms along your side, shimmy your shoulder blades towards each other and lift your hips just an inch. When you lower your hips again, let it feel easeful. And you could stay just like this with your knees bent, or if it feels good to you, you could straighten one leg and then the other. And it's our final Shavasana meditation, our rest and digest. Feel free to close your eyes or not, but 2 minutes of silence together here. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation for as long as you would like. If you're ready, give yourself a stretch, arms and legs away from each other. Gather up your knees into your chest and roll carefully to either side, especially if there's an adorable sleeping pup next to you. And then find a comfortable way to sit. That could be cross-legged, you could be sitting on your heels or on your blocks. And just take a moment to feel. Maybe a little bit more grace, body and mind. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.